Decisions. We gonna head on down to the bayou now, you hear? Jeez. Sound more like I'm from New York or something.
Good afternoon, friends and neighbors. This is your good buddy Bulldawg coming back at you again live from the Burn Studio right here in the heart of the wilds of New York. Yes, I'm wearing a Rangers jersey. Yes, I know that their season's been a dumpster fire this whole time. Yes, I'm a die-hard fan, so I still gotta wear it. Don't judge. All right, so if this is your first time joining us here at The Burn, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, thank you very much. I can't do this without you, and it means a lot to me that you're coming back, and I'm going to do my very best here for you today. If you're a subscriber, thank you. This is a new channel, and I could use all the subscribers I could possibly get. For those of you who are newer to YouTube, when you subscribe, it doesn't cost anything. You don't have to pay for a subscription. All it means is when you subscribe to a channel, you'll get a notification that'll tell you when a new video comes up from that person or that group or whatever the case may be. So anyway, today we're going to check out a blend from Cornell and Deal, and that blend is Bayou Morning. Now, I do have a confession to make. When I first heard about Bayou Morning, I was scared. All right, let me just come out and say it. I was scared. I was very intimidated by it. I had a lot of friends who were saying, whoa, man, that has got a kick. That'll get your blood pumping. Well, that's for good reason, which we'll talk about in just a little bit, but it's not really anything to be afraid of. It's just something that you should do in moderation until you're really used to vitamin N, because there is a certain component in here that does have the potential to kick you in the behind. All right, so hey, let's get to it. Talking about Bayou Morning, another Bob Ranowski blend. Bob Ranowski is well known for not only Bayou Morning, but also for blending Haunted Bookshop and Morley's Best. This is produced by Cornell and Deal right here in the good old US of A. Support them. Please, we've got to support all our American companies. The blend style. This is a vapor. And you might, if you're new to the hobby, a vapor is not some mysterious term. It's just a blending of two other terms, Virginia and Perique, put together. VA for Virginia and PER for Perique. That's what a vapor is if you ever come across it. All right, so the blending components that are in here are Virginia and Perique. Surprise. It has both red and bright Virginias in it. And here's the kicker. Ladies and gentlemen, this blend has 25% Perique content in it, which is pretty damn high. And for those of you who love Perique, this could be a good go-to for you. It is not topped that I know of. I have my doubts as to whether it's even cased or not. Maybe a slight casing to the Virginias, but it seems to be more on the drier side than the sweeter side. Any sweetness that comes through I believe is really just from the Virginias. So anyway, back to this. All right, let's read the tin description. Okay, this is no news. This, I don't have a tin, I'm sorry, I had to write this down. This Virginia Perique blend is composed of red and bright Virginias and 25% Louisiana Perique. Bayou Morning is a Perique lover's delight and an all-day smoke. Maybe. For those of you who are newer to the hobby, I would kind of caution you about making this an all-day smoke right away, because it is on the stronger side. But again, we'll talk about that a little bit. The cut. Well, it comes as either a ribbon cut or a flake, and it will tell you that if it doesn't say flake on it, because the Bayou Morning flake says Bayou Morning flake on the tin clearly. If it doesn't have the word flake on it and just says Bayou Morning, that is the ribbon cut. All right, and also it comes in crumble cake. No, I'm lying. But something I do is I cheat the system a little bit, because it comes in 2-ounce tins and 8-ounce tins, and it also comes in bulk, and the bulk is cheaper to buy, which is kind of nice if you're stocking up your cellar, because the blends can get to be quite pricey after a while. So what I do is, since everybody has told me, confession time, I've never had the flake before. I've only had the ribbon cut. I've only had the bulk. And I'm extremely happy with it because of what I said, is I make a crumble cake out of it. So what I do is I take the bulk and I put it into an industrial noodle press, crank it on down 24 hours, and it comes out in a crumble cake. And it's a nice, tightly packed crumble cake, and that way I can just tear off a pinch, and just rub it on out. And, well, this is what it looks like. And it kind of comes out looking like fish food after the press. But for those of you who... Oh, man. That does look good, though. For those of you who are not familiar with pressing blends, it's something that I like to do because it advances the aging process. When you age tobaccos, the flavors of the components really meld because they've had time to sit there in whatever container it's in, and all these flavors just marry together. When you press it, you're exerting pressure on it, and you're forcing them to get that marriage going. So when it comes out like this, it's all kind of aged. In a manner of speaking. Not exactly, because when you age them, it will be missing the sweetness factor of the Virginias advancing in a truly aged blend. I just like to press it because, like I said, it melds the flavors, and also it makes it much more compact for storage in jars. You take that crumble cake, it takes up a lot less room than if you just have all this bulk. So you can use much smaller jars. All right, let's get back to our stat sheets. The moisture level. All right, the moisture level on my scale of moisture, the bulk at least is parched. It's quite dry. It does not require rehydrating, however. It'll work just fine. You just got to make sure that you don't, really chooch on it and get it to burn really, really fast, because it can do that. And then you start throwing the flavors off. Remember, low and slow is the way to go. So you want to try to put it in a bowl that's really better for Virginias, because it does have that Virginia content. And the sugars in the Virginia like to burn faster too. So if you have a nice narrow bowl, that will help you control things, because you just have a little ember at the top that you have to control. And just nurse that thing along, just keep it so it's really just barely burning. And oh, the flavors you get. That pretty much goes for any blend that I could think of. All right, the tin note. Or the pan note, whatever the case may be. Getting some vinegar from the reds. Getting a touch of hay from the bright Virginias. I'm getting a bit of that dirty hamster cage funk that only a fine Perique can bring to the table. And that's a good thing. All right, so before I get started, I'm remembering this time. I'm going to show you the pipe. The pipe I'm using today is a Merchant Service Bang. I was very fortunate to get my hands on this bad puppy when I was at the Albany Pipe Show last year, because if you try to get them online, they're really hard to get. All right, so gotta get my lighter. I was warming it up. It's a little chilly in here. All right, now I can say it. Let's get lit. Really good smoke output, as you can see on first light. Right off the bat, I'm tasting those red Virginias. From my take on it, I'm tasting more of the reds than the brights. But the brights are definitely there. The brights they use in this, whatever they're using for the brights, it reminds me of the brights in Briar Fox. Very tasty combination. Of course, you have the Perique jumping on in here. It's got a really nice spiciness to it. Excuse me. Want to wet my whistle. It's always a good thing to have a monster tank of coffee on hand for when you're enjoying a blend. It goes good with just about anything. Even though I am chooching on it, to tweak out those flavors, I'm not getting any kind of tongue bite from it. Which is really good, because Virginias can be a bit bitey, especially if they start burning hot. But this is burning nice and cool in the bowl. Yeah, I'm getting a nice Perique tingle right now. By the tingle, I said this in my last video, but I'll just say it one more time. Those of you who are not familiar with Perique or can recognize it in a blend yet, my experience at least is not so much of a tingle like an effervescence. When I think of a tingle, I think of like an effervescence kind of thing. To me, it's more of a spiciness that's kind of akin to a raw onion. If you chew a raw onion, that flavor that it gives, or not, let me back that up. I don't mean the flavor. I don't mean the flavor. That was a faux pas on my fault. Sorry, my bad. It's not an onion flavor, but it is the onion sensation on the tongue, for me at least. Other people might actually get an effervescence. But from what I understand, that's really coming from the aging of the tobacco. Need to tamp this bad puppy down a little bit. So yeah, that Perique tingle is definitely there. Kind of one-dimensional. It's not going to change on you a whole hell of a lot. But in this case, this one-trick pony has a damn good trick. It's enjoyable. I like this one a lot. I'm big on vapors to begin with, so I've got that partiality. My cellar, as a matter of fact, has a lot of blends that are similar, but I've been able to find a differentiation between them, and not so much their flavors, even though, of course, I taste them, but the Perique content. I have it set up so whatever mood I'm in, I can pick the vapor of my choice. If I want something milder with a little bit more sweetness, then I'll probably go with like GOP Stratford. It's really close to this, but like I said, the Perique is dialed back just a hair, and then it has more Virginia sweetness to it for those of you who prefer the Virginia flavor. Then when I want more of a heavy hitter with the Perique, I'll go with the Bayou Morning. If I really want a swift kick in the behind, I'll go with Exclusive. That is beast. That is that's a lot of Perique right there. Sometimes that's what I need to scratch that itch. Not a whole lot, but this usually does the trick. This is really good. Smoke output is decent. Probably right on par with any other vapors. Not a crazy amount. It was on the first light, but it's backed off a bit. As far as the flavor's concerned, I can't really say it's full flavor, because when I think of full flavor, I think of like a big English that has a lot of flavor to it, but this is fairly full for a vapor. I'm getting a little bit of that plumminess from the Perique now too, not just the spice. Let's talk cellaring potential. It's got Virginia. Should cellar extremely well. I have been told that it does cellar extremely well. I have not yet had the pleasure to have an aged batch of this. But from what I've heard, the Virginias, let me back it up. The Virginias in here are not that sweet. It's more of a dry blend. The Virginias really don't lend themselves to a whole lot of sweetness here because the Perique is really right there in the forefront. But, and it's a big but, I've heard that when you age it, the Virginias tend to sweeten, as Virginias are wont to do, and the Perique kind of melds in and mellows a bit, and it gives more flavor to the blend as opposed to the spiciness. Overall, I think it's definitely rotation worthy for those of you who like a solid Perique blend. If you really want that kick, it's a good one to go to. It's really nice without going overboard. Exclusive can be considered overboard if you're not prepared for it, though I do love that one. And so on the recommendation scale of 1 to 5, I give this a good solid 4. Yeah, I recommend this one because I do have this. It is a staple in my rotation, and for the reasons that I've already said, and it's tasty as all get out. I enjoy it. So, once again, this has been your good buddy Bulldawg. I thank you for joining us, and I'll see you next time.